Stel, my man, it's been a very strange night for Tottenham. We've got Thomas Frank drinking from Arsenal cups. You've got Porro, Van de Ven, Paulinho having arguments with the fans. Semenyo scoring a last-minute winner. And Tottenham maybe playing a bit more attacking football than we've seen in the past 5 games, you could maybe say. How do you assess tonight, Stelios? What are your feelings? Go for it.
Yeah, we lost.
Frank said it was a good overall performance. He said it was a step in the right direction.
We're the only fan base that praises losses.
It's crazy.
Oh, the fan base, well, the fans are definitely not praising tonight. Let me get it right. It's Frank is praising the performance.
There's always someone praising a loss. We won in life when we got battered 4-1 against Chelsea. We clapped off the players when we lost 2-1 to Liverpool. And tonight we lost 3-2 and Frank's praising us. It's almost as if losing is the glory now at Tottenham. You know,
I heard how amazing we were after losing to Paris 5. What was it? 5-3.
Yeah, 5-3.
I heard how amazing we are.
Mate, standards are in the mud at this club. Our standards are so low.
Low.
It beggars belief. Do you know, I literally arrived in Cyprus today. I'm here for 5 days, and I managed to catch the second half. And I've got to say, right, we didn't do badly, but we didn't do good. But because not being bad is a positive, we will glorify it to be something really, really good. Do you know what I'm saying? We're so desperate, we're so in need of a 3-course meal that if we're given some crumbs and a little taste of an egg omelette, we think it's lobster and steak because we've completely forgotten what good football looks like, what winning looks like, what entertaining Pochettino-type football looks like. We're so void of knowing what that looks like anymore that if I give you a bottle of water and half a Marks and Spencer sandwich, you're going to think, lobster, steak. And I think that's what's happening at Spurs. You get these 15, 20-minute patches where we're doing well and we just glorify it to be more than what it is. Guys, let's have it right. Bournemouth haven't won in 11 games. They haven't won a game of football in 11 games. And then we turn up and they get a win. Nottingham Forest haven't won in 7 games. The only win was, when we got battered 3-0 against them. So I think we just got to put some perspective on when we are good. Are we really good? Are we really good, or are we just hyping it up because we're desperate? We're so in need of something to make us feel that we actually have a football club that we support.
I would say, Stel, when we're good this season, it's like maybe not last season, but like in other seasons, it would be like a middle of the road kind of okay-ish performance, and that's like our top performances this season, if you know what I mean. Like against Sunderland, yeah. I would say that first half everyone's praising against Sunderland. Like in another season, that would have been like, yeah, we were okay in that first half. This season's like, wow, we were so good.
Go back and watch the first half of the Sunderland game and tell me how many saves their goalie had to make.
I don't think he had too many.
None.
Exactly. None. But yet, we were really good. We were attacking. We were on top of them. Mate, their goalie didn't have to do anything other than the goal that they conceded. That was it. He didn't have to do anything. I just... Amir's right. This is on Enoch. This is 100% on Enoch. But the problem is, it's hard to just go all in on Enoch when the coach is giving you nothing as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and let me just run by some things that I've been hearing and things that I've been debating. Okay, since July, August. Okay, Frank's fixed our defence, but yet we conceded 3 goals tonight against a team that hasn't won in 11. We conceded 3 against Nottingham Forest, a team that doesn't know how to win anymore. Okay, they beat West Ham last night, but let's be honest, West Ham are god-awful. Frank starts slow. Someone mentioned it tonight. That chat was spot on. He started fast and then we've collapsed. We just need a coach. But what's been coached? What has actually been coached when you watch us play? Frank's a tactical professor. I think he only tactically changes things when he goes defensive. He's not forward thinking and risk taking in his tactical changes. And then the best one of all is injuries are Ange's fault. Well, who overplayed Kudus because they refused to give minutes to Johnson, Tell, and Odebert, so they just ran Kudus into the ground? Why has Bergvall picked up another injury? Who rushed him back? Yep. I guarantee you, if Ange Postecoglou did that to Kudus and Bergvall, as a fan base, we'd be going after Ange. It's his fault. He's crippling the players. He's injuring everyone. But when Frank does similar stuff, the bias kicks in, and it's no. It's not Frank's fault. It's not Frank's fault. These things I hear don't make sense to me, guys. Frank's fixed the defence. We always start slow. We just need a coach. Tactical professor. And just thought we got injuries. When you actually analyse it, none of it makes sense to me.
They're what I call nonsense narratives. They're just narratives that people run with, and then they'll go with that, you know. Our defence is much better, even though we look shaky every time a ball comes in. I want to know from your experience of our club, where do we actually go from here? Because it's obvious to me and many other fans that Frank's not the right guy, but I'm a man that I like to try and figure out solutions and where do we actually go from here? Who is the right man for the job? What would you do now in ENIC's shoes? Where would you go after Frank?
Well, I think for me, definitely Frank is not the guy for Spurs going forward. Yeah. If we want real success at this club, I've said this before. If you chuck £400-500 million at him, he'll get you top four, maybe a good cup run. He's not winning trophies. He's not that guy. So if it's silverware you want and real glory, then we need a winner. We need someone that's a proven winner and someone who is going to play football that fans are going to get behind. I don't think it necessarily needs to be free-flowing, front-footed, amazing attacking football. There needs to be some balance to it. At the moment, we're very lopsided in defending, but when we do attack, we're lackluster with it because we don't practice it enough. Let me share something with you, okay? We ran an analysis on the passing metrics of the whole team, so every single player, compared to last season. Do you know the vast majority of our players, their progressive passes, their passing accuracy, their forward passes, their clinical passes, and their overall possession, most of the players' metrics are down significantly. Bentancur was mid-80s. He's now in the 70s.
Still, what people would argue with that is that because Ange's way of playing was so front-footed and so open that naturally you're going to get more forward passes and you're going to get more possession just because it was so attacking.
Yeah, spot on. But that's the point. He coached it. Right. He coached us to pass more and attack more and make more progressive passes. So the reason our passing isn't great and the reason our attacking isn't great and the reason our forward passes, progressive passes, XG, all these metrics, the reason it's down as a whole is because it's not being coached enough. Frank's just simply not coaching it nowhere near to the levels required. Just the same as how Ange didn't coach defending enough. Ange just didn't coach defending enough. If he did that a bit more, he'd probably still keep his job. But he was maybe 20% coach defending, 80% attacking. Whereas Frank he's got the balance in the other way. So when we do actually attack, we're not good at it because we don't coach it enough. We're not working on it enough. If our players are currently working on passing, possession, give and go, 1-2s, one-touch football, forward passes, breaking the ball through the channels, overlapping one in, then pass out, those kinds of things. If we're practicing that, let's say 30% of the training session time, that needs to go up to 50 or 60%. because the metrics as a team are down. If, let's say, the metrics were down for Richarlison and Romero, you'd say, right, we've got an individual player problem. Point the finger at the player. But when the whole team is down, guys, that's not individual failure. That's a collective failure. That is coaching. That is a management failure. When the collective collapses, look at the manager. When individual players collapse, then say, right, we've got a problem with the players. But it's the whole team. And it's not just a slight drop-off, it's significant. It's quite a big drop-off from last season. So this is why Frank does need to be held accountable for this, for that side of what's going on at the club. You know?
So why do so many fans not want to hold him accountable still? Why are there so many people just giving him a free pass, give him till the end of the season, chuck a few 100 million at him in January? What has he shown those fans to deserve that kind of?
I think it's two things. I think first of all, you know, let's have it right. The hate towards Ange Postecoglou was so big from some fans that anything but Ange. So whoever came in, brilliant, excellent. Yeah, look how he's fixed us already. You can already see we're more structured. You can already they jumped on the bandwagon without taking a step back and saying, right, what's Frank actually done in his career? What European pedigree has he got? What has he ever won? What's he like when he has to play 2 games a week? If you go and look at when he did play 2 games a week at Brentford, he didn't have many games, but when he did play 2 games a week, do you know his winning ratio went from 52% down to 25%?
Was that in the Championship? What do you mean? Because it was in the Premier League.
Yeah, so let's say he had a cup game midweek and then a Premier League game.
I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, his win rate dropped by 50%. So if you actually take a step back, put your hate for Ange to one side and actually just look at Frank, it doesn't make sense why we hired a manager for this season that hasn't got winning pedigree, that hasn't got experience of playing 2 games a week successfully, hasn't got any European experience, and he's coming to a big club where the pressure, the expectations are different. It didn't make sense when you begin to look at it. But to answer your question, Amir, it's because so many fans hated Ange. They wanted anything but Frank. I also think the other thing as well is a lot of fans, they're scared of sacking another manager because we can't keep sacking managers. Whereas my counter to that is we need to back the right manager, not 100%. Keep sacking managers because we're sick of sacking managers. No, we had Conte. We should have done everything we can to back him to the hills, but we didn't. We should have backed Pochettino, but we didn't. You know, so the right managers have come to this club. We just haven't backed them. And what we are doing now is saying, right, well, let's back a manager that has got it all to prove that probably won't be the right manager. And I don't that why fans think like that. I don't know. Maybe it's just because they're fed up of different managers all the time.
I think that's what it is.
That's not the answer, though. That's not the answer.
It's not the answer still. But I think that ENIC have kind of a little cheeky get out of free card to play with this one, because they can sack Frank and they can be like, look, that was Levy's last, decision. That was Levy. The next guy that we're bringing in is our guy. This is who we want to run with for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years, however long they see fit. Because I think the fact that Levy was here when he was still hired, they might be able to get away with that. But I don't see where they have to go.
Look, personally, for me, guys, I think sacking him now would be a problem because I don't know who you bring in now for just the next 5 months who's going to get a tune out of them with what's going on at the club. Because if we sack Frank, I don't want to do what Man United have done, interim and all this nonsense. We need the right manager to come in and to back that guy. And I don't think that's going to happen till the summer. For me personally, I would back Frank in this window to get us back into Europe, just to try and finish in a European place, and then deal with him in the summer and bring in a manager that's going to let's take this club forward once and for all. Because if we sack him now, listen, if he stays or goes, I don't care. But if we sack him now, I don't know if that's actually going to work. But at the same time, we can't keep losing games, playing badly, fans booing, drama after every game. That can't happen. That can't happen either. I think what worries me the most, guys, is I look at teams like Leeds, Fulham, Everton. Two of those teams we beat. We beat those teams. They were all below us, mate. They've all picked up and progressed as the season's gone on. Those teams, yet we've gone backwards. How is that possible? And then I look at
Bournemouth have not won for 11 games. They're now 1 point behind.
This is what I mean. This is what Leeds have got so much better as the season's gone on. Everton have got better as the season's gone on, and we beat both those teams. Fulham have got better in recent months. How are they improving and we're not? Is it simply just they've got better owners, they've got better players, they've got better training facilities? What is it?
Where do you stand on this? The whole debate, is it who's more to blame? Is it the players? Is it Frank? Like, when you look at the squad, I'm sure you've got problems with it, but how bad do you think this squad actually is? Do you think you look at for example players like Tell tonight? I thought he had a pretty good game tonight, Matisse Tell, but he's been so underused this season. Like, is Frank getting the best out of these set of players, or is this the best they got to offer?
I'm gonna answer your question with a comment. A good friend of mine who is a top coach, right, really good coach, said to me. He said it to me last week. He goes, if Bergvall didn't come to Spurs and he actually went to Barcelona, how good do you think he'd be right now? And I think that answers the question.
And you think that's for a lot of our players?
Maybe not all, because I think there's some players at this club that just shouldn't be here. They just should not be here. But there's certainly players at this club, in my opinion, have regressed, partly under Ange and under Frank as well now. But I also feel that the way we're set up just doesn't work for us. I don't think we're getting the best out of Xavi Simons. I don't think we're getting the best out of our fullbacks, wingbacks, whatever you want to call them. I don't think we set up in a way that's trying to dominate games and control games. Not to say that we will win, because I don't know if we would win, but we'd definitely be. The intent would be better, and I think it would be better on the eye as well. But one thing that really bothered me, like the last couple of weeks, guys, and this is why I've really, really kind of got to a place now where I just don't believe in Frank, is this. When the troubles began, I think pretty much every single fan said that, but look at the attackers we've got, they're all crap. And then fans started arguing, are they crap or is it Frank? And then the argument was, yeah, but he had Mbuemo, Wissam, Norgard, Ivan Toney. Look at what he had at Brentford. We played Brentford the other day, and the manager, Keith Andrews, didn't have Mbuemo, didn't have Wissa, didn't have Norgard, didn't have Toney. What happened in that game? Look at where Brentford are in the league. They won again tonight. How is it Keith Andrews, Frank's ex-set-piece coach, takes over at Brentford, doesn't have any of the top attackers that Frank had, and he's outperforming Frank and outperforming Tottenham?
They're fifth, Brentford.
But Frank needs Mbuemo, Wissa, Norgard, Toney. But Brentford don't have those players anymore. And look, Keith Andrews is doing a better job with Brentford than what Frank did without Frank's top players. Guys, I can't accept that. In my head, I try and make sense of it. I try and analyse it to find a way to say, but I can't. You can't make sense of it. He's doing a fantastic job with less tools at Brentford than what Frank had. What does that say about Frank then? I'm not here to bash Frank, guys, because I don't think he's a terrible coach. I don't think he's an awful manager. I don't think he's Santini or Christian Gross. But when you just compare him to what's going on around us with other clubs, smaller clubs, lesser managers, less resources, players that aren't as good as the squad that we've got is. It doesn't make sense, guys. It doesn't make sense at all. And the only thing I can put it down to is Frank is not getting the best out of these players. He simply isn't. And the more I look at it, the more I analyse it, the more I look at the metrics, the more I compare players this year to last year at Spurs, everything shows that as a whole, we have significantly dropped under Frank and his coaching team.
How's our XG still? How's our XG?
It was level with Bournemouth tonight. Wasn't so bad. 1.4
season to season.
Oh, it's
comparison.
awful.
How far are we behind?
Very far.
You know, everyone. I don't want to make this Ange v Frank, but Ange got blamed for everything last season, like everything.
He did.
And now we're seeing the same shit. Then if fans are going to be genuine, then you need to blame the manager the same way you blamed Ange. You know, or say actually, we were harsh on Ange. We were a bit too harsh on him, which is why we're not being as harsh on Frank, because we actually got it a bit wrong with Ange. But no one's said that.
It's worse than being harsh.
No one has come out and said that.
It's worse than being harsh. We have a lot of ungrateful fans, I would say, as well. When it comes down to the Ange bashing and the Ange hate, there were some people in there that didn't want to see us win that trophy just so they could bash him some more. Let's be real. And a lot of these same fans are the ones saying, give him another half a season. He needs back in January. The same old things that we've heard.
See, the big problem we've got now, guys, is as a club, we can't attract top players because we look like a joke. Always changing managers, rarely winning anything. Okay, we won something last year. The club's always got drama around it. We're not a very we're not a club that agents would say to players, yeah, go there, go be a success there. So as a club perspective, ENIC have wrecked us. From a footballing perspective on the pitch, who wants to come and play for this Spurs team under Frank? Who is Frank realistically going to attract that is a top player to come to this club, playing this kind of football, losing every week, 14th in the league, battered by Forest, Bournemouth, their first win in 11 games. All the teams we beat that were below us, like Leeds and Everton, they're now, they've either caught us or they've gone above us. You wouldn't come here to be coached. You wouldn't come here to play in this manager's team. You wouldn't come here to work under ENIC. What is the pull factor of Tottenham right now for a top player? If you're a really good player, what is the pull factor?
Money and lifestyle. That's it. Money and lifestyle. Mercenaries. That's who we're getting. These are the players that we're getting.
Yeah.
These are exactly that.
Yeah. Going back to tonight, Stel, was there any players maybe you think you can take positives from, or anything that in the team? You know, Frank said overall was a good performance. It was a step in the right direction.
I can't even hit. When you say that, Sim, it just annoys me. It just annoys me. How can he say a good performance?
Well, in the second half we dominated. He said.
We dominated. What?
Is there any player you thought had a good game?
Listen, I mean, Paulinho, I thought he done well. I thought Paulinho done well for us tonight.
Do you think Tell had a good game?
He started off brightly, but again, you see, the issue with Tells and Odeberts and these attacking players, you will never really know what they can do unless you give them 10 games in a row. Even if they have a couple of bad games, keep playing them, because a lot of the learning of a player is done when times are hard. Mikey Moore's a great example. Got off to a bad start at Rangers, but they kept playing him. Now they're singing his name. He's scoring goals in the Celtic Rangers derby. He's doing all right there because they kept playing him, and that's how you develop. So, look, I don't really rate Odegaard and Tell personally, but I can't categorically sit here and say that these two players can't do anything for Spurs at all unless they're given, a good 10 games back to then say, look, you've had 10 games. Don't forget, it took Gareth Bale about 10 games in a row before he clicked. I'm not saying these guys are Gareth Bale, because they're not, but it's hard to tell, Sim. It really is with a lot of our players. You know, and also I look at the fullbacks. I don't think Porro's rubbish. I don't think Spence is no good. I think they're good fullbacks. I just don't think Ange inverted them, which I don't think works for fullbacks. Although Porro got quite a lot of success from that, and Frank just doesn't play them in an attacking way where they've got protection of a six that sits deep and covers the flank when the counter attack comes on. So we're not getting the best out of them either. It's so difficult to judge a lot of these players at the moment because of the way they're set up and the way we're told to play. I think there's some players that just shouldn't be here. You know, like for example, I know he's our top scorer, and whilst he's our top scorer, he has to play because where else are the goals coming from? But Richie's not good enough, man. Richie shouldn't be wearing a Spurs.
Would you not say we looked a lot better when he came on tonight?
He has impacts in games, like he did against Liverpool. Came on, we suddenly were all over Liverpool.
Chaos.
And he has moments that creates a kind of environment that we thrive in, that he thrives in. But as a player, to receive the ball, lay it off, head it on, take a touch, play a 1-2, keep possession, drive a goal, beat a man, bullet shot, bottom corner. He's got none of that. He's got absolutely none of that. The only thing he's got is once in a while he scores like a Puskas goal.
Yeah.
Scored a couple against Burnley, scored one against Arsenal. You know, he's got a Puskas goal in it, but that's it. So there's players like him that shouldn't be at this football club. He's not good enough. He's not. I also think that there's, you know, I look at the midfielders, guys. I'm not convinced by Archie Gray. I'm not convinced by him. I know he's had some good games, but I'm just not convinced by him. But again, is this system working for him? Are we playing the kind of football that suits Archie Gray? I don't know, guys. These are questions I can't answer because I haven't seen that opportunity given to them to know. But I don't think we've got the level of quality that we had when Poch was manager, though. I think that's fair to say. We don't have Wanyama's, Christian Eriksen's, Musa Dembele's. You know, Jan Vertonghen, Danny Rose's.
Way
we
off
don't
it.
have that.
Way
we
off.
don't have that.
But then what I'll argue to that, Stel, is before Poch took over, we'd probably say a lot about the players that you just mentioned, like we do about our current players. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the players weren't rated before Poch took over.
Well, Carl Walker and Danny Rose were average until Poch got his hands on them.
Vertonghen was seemed like Romero, like he didn't care. He says we want out, and like there was similar to vibes like Romero. But Dembele, people were done with Dembele. People wanted him gone.
Crazy.
Like they thought he was rubbish and overrated.
Well, the club wanted to sell Harry Kane. Remember?
Kane as well. Like a lot of that squad that you mentioned wasn't rated very highly, and then Poch was able to get the best out of all of them.
See, and then. Again, this is something I heard from fans that Mbeumo, Wisa, Tony, no one had heard of them until Frank got his hands on them.
Mm-hmm.
But we're just not seeing it at Spurs. I get he's only been here 5-6 months, but we've seen nothing. Like, what, if I was to ask you two a question, what have you seen from Frank in terms of tactics, in terms of player development, in terms of the football we play? What have you seen that gives you some optimism that he is the right guy for Spurs? Have you seen anything to suggest, do you know what, let's just hold tight? Me
personally, no. I think the only hope you would have is that he starts playing in a different way. That's the only hope you had. The longer he has, he would develop a different way of playing. But I think this is what he's got to offer. I don't really think he's got another level up his sleeve. I just think it needs better. From his point of view, the way of playing needs better players. Like, not that the system is the problem, but I think this way of playing, I don't know if I think he thinks it's a sustainable way. You just get loads of crosses in the box. You just pump it down the line all the time. You go long. You rely on set pieces. You make sure you're not committing too much risk. You make sure you're preventing shots from high XG areas. You make sure you're taking shots from high XG areas.
Yeah.
Like that's his way of playing. That's what got him success at Brentford. I don't think he's going to start implementing some possession-based, playing through the thirds, I agree. A progressive kind of football. I just don't think that's his way. And so even if we pump loads of money and we start getting better results, I don't know if it's ever going to be something that the fans take to in the long term, even if he's a success. Like, for me, it's just horrible to watch. It's not the football we should want from a Tottenham manager. In my opinion.
Do you know one thing that doesn't add up for us going forward is that Frank is a so-called coach that develops players, and look what he did with Tony, Wisa, etc., etc., etc. If that's the case, should we not just be buying players that he can develop and turn into those players? Because that's what his skill set is. Because what I'm hearing from many fans is we need top players, we need to sign top players. But that's not what Frank's about. The whole point of Frank is he's good at developing players, not signing the finished article. Because if we're going to start signing the finished article, then surely you bring in a manager that has the skill set of working with those players, like Conte, like Mourinho, like Ancelotti, like those. I'm not saying those managers exactly, but if you're going to bring in top players, bring in a manager that's got the experience of working with them and winning. Not a manager whose experience is keeping a team kind of in the Premier League by developing talent and finding hidden gems that then become really good in the future, because that's what Frank's about. Yet we're saying we want a transfer policy that's different to his skill set as a manager.
But again, are we not, back to your question still, are we not following a little bit of a narrative here that he's good at coaching these players? Because you tell me now, I'll name you a player.
That's what he did at Brentford. That's what he did at Brentford. That's why I say it.
I get it, but is this a narrative that he can do this at Tottenham? Because has he improved Bergvall? Has he improved Odegaard? Has he improved Tell? Has he improved Xavi? Has he improved any of our young players? What's he done to any of our young players? Have you seen any improvement that gives you hope that he could do that with Spurs players? He's let Johnson go, who was our top goal scorer last season. What's he done with any of the others? Who's got better?
Again, when you proper analyse it, this is where the whole conversation unravels, because
I agree.
You can't say anyone's massively improved. You could say Odegaard looks better this year. You could say that Bergvall has had good moments. But if you to actually say, name a player who's really looks like a really well improved player consistently, the only one is Van der Ven. But I think that's just because we're not defending on the halfway line. We've dropped the defence back, so naturally he's better because he's not having to kill himself every 10 minutes making an emergency sprint back to save the team. But other than Van der Ven, I don't know. I can't see it. I agree with you.
Stel, we've been running over a bit, so I'm going to have to let you go. Before we do, any mention on Cupgate? We didn't really get your reaction to that. Is it a storm in a teacup, as they say? Or is it something more to be had?
Sim, I'm straight to the point. I just don't care. I don't care. These, it's like when Ange had a fracas with a fan, and now, Frank and Cupgate, and there's always these things are good for banter and memes and just have a bit of a laugh to just forget the football. But I just don't care. I tell you, look, if our football was good on the pitch and we were winning games, no one would give a shit about Cupgate. No one would care about it.
It's true.
It's an issue because the football's poor and we're losing games. That's why it's an issue.
If we had won that 3-2 with a 3-2 last...
I think if we win that, people laugh at it. But because we lost, it's like, bloody Gooner, this Gooner, he's sabotaging us.
He is.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Look, Stel, it's good to speak to you as always, mate. Good having you on.
Enjoy Cyprus.
See you soon.
Yeah. Have a good one, guys.
Take care.
Nice one, mate.